You think you know speed. You've seen a cheetah sprint across the savannah, muscles exploding like coiled springs. You've watched race cars blur into streaks of color, maybe even fighter jets tearing the sky apart. But here's the problem. Your brain measures speed like a human. Distance, time, big things moving fast. And that is exactly why you're wrong. Because in the natural world, speed isn't about how far you go. It's about how quickly you can end something. A hunt, a life, a moment. So let's play a game. What's the fastest living thing on Earth? Go ahead, pick one. A cheetah? Makes sense. 70 miles per hour. A land missile wrapped in fur. Its spine bends like a spring. Its claws grip like spikes. Every step is a controlled explosion. But here's the catch. If speed were only about raw numbers, then sure, the cheetah wins on land. But zoom out. The sky doesn't care about your assumptions, because up there, something is falling. Not flying, falling. A peregrine falcon. When it dives, it doesn't flap. It doesn't chase. It becomes a bullet. Over 240 miles per hour. Let that sink in. That's faster than most race cars. Faster than highway traffic could ever dream of. It folds its wings, tightens its body, turns itself into a living missile guided by instinct older than humanity. And when it hits, it doesn't just catch prey, it deletes it. So now you're thinking, okay, that's it, right? Bird beats mammal. End of story. But this is where things start to get uncomfortable. Because we're still thinking too big, still thinking like humans. Let's shrink the world. Down past feathers, past fur, past anything you can see. Into the microscopic battlefield, where speed becomes something else entirely. No wind resistance, no drag, no hesitation, just action. There exists a creature so small, you could fit thousands on a pin. And it doesn't chase its prey, it ambushes it. Meet the mantis shrimp. Actually, no, that's still too big. We're not done shrinking yet, because even the mantis shrimp is slow compared to what comes next. Yes, the mantis shrimp can punch with the acceleration of a bullet. Yes, it creates shock waves underwater that literally boil the surrounding liquid. But even that isn't the fastest, not even close, because true speed lives where your eyes can't go, where distance becomes meaningless, where the entire event happens faster than your brain can process. And this is where things break, because the fastest living thing on Earth doesn't run, doesn't fly, doesn't swim. It triggers, like a trap, like a loaded weapon waiting for the exact right moment. And when it does, it becomes something closer to physics than biology. And that's where the real story begins. And now, we enter a world where fast stops making sense. Because at a certain scale, speed doesn't feel like motion anymore. It feels like teleportation. Imagine this. You're in a silent, invisible battlefield. No sound, no warning, no time to react. Everything seems still. It's already over. No chase, no struggle, no second chance. Because the attack didn't travel to you. It arrived. Meet the trap-jaw ant. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Tiny, forgettable. Just another insect crawling on the ground. But hidden inside its head is a loaded weapon. Its jaws aren't just for biting. They're spring-loaded traps, held in place by biological locks. Like a crossbow, pulled back and waiting. Energy builds. Tension rises. Everything is perfectly still. Until release. Its jaws snap shut. It speeds up to 140 miles per hour. But that number doesn't even tell the real story. Because what matters isn't how fast it moves across space. It's how fast it moves relative to its size. At its scale, that snap happens in microseconds. To you, it would feel like nothing happened. To its prey, it's instant annihilation. No chase scene, no dramatic escape, just existence, and then absence. And here's the part that breaks your brain. If a human could move at the same relative speed as a trap-jaw ant, you wouldn't run like a cheetah, you wouldn't fly like a falcon. You would cross a football field in less than a blink, before your brain could even register the decision to move. That's not speed. That's reality lagging behind action. But wait, we're still not at the top. Because even the trap-jaw ant still moves. And the fastest living thing on Earth doesn't even give you that luxury. It doesn't snap. It doesn't swing. It doesn't accelerate. It fires, like a biological harpoon, like a microscopic gun built out of living tissue. Meet the cnidarian, more specifically, the box jellyfish's weapon. Not the jellyfish itself, its cells. Inside each tentacle are thousands of microscopic capsules called nematocysts. Each one is a loaded syringe, coiled, pressurized, waiting. Inside, a thread-like harpoon, packed with venom. Everything is locked, stable, silent, until something touches it, and in that instant, the fastest biological mechanism on Earth is unleashed. The harpoon fires at accelerations over 5 million Gs. Let that hit you. 5 million Gs. For comparison, a fighter pilot blacks out at around 9 Gs. This is not just faster than animals. This is faster than most mechanical systems humans have ever built. The entire discharge happens in nanoseconds. Not milliseconds, nanoseconds. That's billionths of a second. At that speed, there is no before, there is no during, only after. The prey doesn't dodge, it doesn't react, it doesn't even know it's been hit, because the signal never reaches its brain in time. The attack bypasses perception itself. And here's the twist that changes everything. The fastest living thing on Earth isn't an organism. It's a moment, a microscopic event, a single burst of action so fast it outruns awareness. And this is where the story stops being about animals and starts being about you. Because up until now, you've been watching speed like an observer, like it's something out there. Cheetahs, falcons, ants, jellyfish. But what if the most important speed is happening inside your own head, right now, as you're listening? You feel like you're in control. You hear words. You process meaning. You decide what to think next. But neuroscience says something unsettling. Your brain makes decisions before you're aware of them. Milliseconds earlier. Tiny, invisible gaps. But now think back to the jellyfish. Nanoseconds. A billionth of a second. That's not just faster than reaction. That's faster than awareness itself. So here's the uncomfortable question. How much of your life is happening at a speed you can't perceive? Because your brain is not a commander. It's a narrator. It tells the story after the event has already begun. Like watching a movie with a slight delay. You think you're making choices in real time, but in reality, you're catching up. Just like prey trying to react to a nematocyst strike. Too late. Always too late. And suddenly, speed isn't about movement anymore. It's about control. Who acts first? Who doesn't need to wait? Who operates below the threshold of awareness? In nature, the winners aren't the fastest runners. They're the fastest triggers. The ones that don't hesitate. The ones that don't process. The ones that don't decide. Because decision is slow. Thought is slow. Consciousness is slow. And evolution figured this out long before we did. That's why the deadliest systems in nature are automatic. Reflex over reason. Trigger over thought. Action over awareness. And here's the twist that flips everything one last time. You've been taught your whole life that thinking makes you powerful, that awareness is your greatest strength. But in the raw physics of survival, thinking is a delay. A beautiful, complex, incredibly useful delay. But still, a delay. So the fastest living thing on Earth isn't just that microscopic harpoon. It's any system, biological or not, that can act without waiting for awareness. And suddenly, speed becomes something else entirely. Not how fast you move, but how little you need to think before you act. Which leads to a strange, almost uncomfortable realization. The more conscious you are, the slower you become. And the more automatic you are, the closer you get to the edge of true speed. That doesn't mean thinking is bad. It means thinking belongs to a different game, a slower one, a deeper one, a human one. Because animals optimized for survival, but humans, we optimized for meaning, for reflection, for understanding. We traded raw speed for the ability to pause. And that pause, that tiny delay between impulse and action, that's where everything human lives. Morality, creativity, choice. So yes, the fastest living thing on Earth can strike in nanoseconds. It can outrun perception. It can bypass reality itself. But it can't do one thing. It can't choose not to. And maybe that's the real twist. Speed wins in nature. But in being human, the ability to not be fast might be the most powerful thing we have.